Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink? I got money in the bank. Shawty, what you drink?
Hey, two-step with me, let me show you how it goes. The Marcelago, let me show you how it roll. I got a Bentley that I only drove one time. 50 bought it for me, shorty, but it's still mine. My Chevy clean and the paint look like lemon lime. You wanna shine?
And here we go, King. WrestleMania has featured some huge matches over the years, but this might well be one of the most important of all time.
You got that right. This isn't just about a grudge or a title. It's about freedom of expression here on Raw. If Kurt Angle wins tonight, it's bye-bye puppies. Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
And it's more than that, King. It's goodbye to allowing Raw to give the WWE fans what they want. If Kurt Angle was the real American hero he says he is, he might pay a little more respect to a certain something called the Bill of Rights. This superstar is the only man standing between freedom and censorship here on Raw. A win tonight would shut Stephanie McMahon's campaign down once and for all. But a loss...
Oh man, don't even think about it, JR. I've never been this guy's biggest fan, but I'm hoping and praying that he beats Angle at his own game here tonight. He's got to!
Angle is the master of the ankle lock, and his skill at submission-style wrestling is unparalleled in this business. This man has his work cut out for him, but this is a battle that must be fought and won. Kurt Angle has rubbed some fans and fellow superstars the wrong way in the past. The submission has been expertly applied, and now it's just a matter of time.
That's right, JR. You've either got to break the hold or get broken by it.
This is a classic matchup, King. He's got his opponent locked in a submission hold.
We can see a tap out right here, JR.
A textbook reversal there.
This has gone beyond just being a match, JR. I think these superstars genuinely hate each other.
There's no love lost between these competitors, that's for sure.
He's really cranking up the pressure on that hold, JR.
He sure is. There's no doubt he's looking for the submission right here. These superstars are going to put each other through wrestling hell tonight.
They've already got a pretty good start on that, JR.
They have indeed, King. I don't think there's an ounce of quit between them.
Yeah, and that's where things get dangerous. If you're too proud to admit that it's not your night, you might wind up risking your career for a single match.
But at the same time, King, no one makes it up the ladder without pushing themselves to the very limit. It's a very fine line to walk.
So, how do you think this one's going to turn out, JR?
Honestly, King, I have absolutely no idea. Anything can happen here in the WWE.
But you've got to...
And there it goes! The submission is locked in!
Oh my gosh! He might make his opponent tap right here!
The submission is locked in! This could be huge!
Oh my gosh, JR! You can't go on without tapping after this! It's like he read his opponent's mind! Looks like they've slowed the match down a little. I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with the old expression. Look at the confidence radiating off this superstar.
All I see is an overconfident superstar who's throwing away the match by not following up.
What a submission hold! Could this be a tap out?
It isn't. The whole can't be.
This capacity crowd is making their opinions known tonight.
They sure are, JR, and I love to hear it. I'd ask you who you want to win this matchup, JR, but it's been pretty obvious since the start of the show who you're pulling for.
I'm trying to remain as objective as I can, King. Quite frankly, I'd rather see a good competitive matchup than see a particular superstar win or lose this thing.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows you play favorites. Always try to win whoever they're cheering for.
I've never been a kiss-up in my life, King, which is more than I can say for some people. I follow like I see it, and I'm flattered that the WWE fans agree with me as often as they do.
I don't know how much more of this I can stand to listen to, JR. You know what the difference between you and I-95 is? You can turn off I-95.
I tell you, King, sometimes I get exhausted just watching these superstars compete.
I know what you mean, JR. I don't think most people appreciate what... Exhibition is locked in, JR, and this is a tough hold to break.
It sure is, King, and even if you break the hold, it takes its toll on you.
Oh, no. I don't like the looks of this.
He's got the fans behind him, King, and his opponent had better watch out.
You got to respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what... He's got his attention focused on that ankle.
And there it is! The ankle lock! He's got it locked in!
What does he think he's doing? He's got his opponent locked into submission, JR. This could be it.
It could indeed. He might force his opponent to tap out right here. Look at him feeding off the energy from this capacity crowd. He's unstoppable.
You can't ever count on these fans, JR. They're fickle, and they'll abandon you in a heartbeat. Wow, there's a hole you don't want to find yourself in, JR.
You sure don't, King. We've seen many a superstar tap out to this one. He's sizing up his opponent's ankle. We've seen this before.
We certainly have, JR. And there it is, the ankle lock, the ankle lock. Oh, man, I've been in this hole before, JR. This brings back some bad memories.
I can understand why, King. I can't even imagine the pain being inflicted here.
I don't care how tough you are, JR. No one can take this kind of pain for long.
You're absolutely right, King. We've seen many superstars.
I'll tell you, JR, it's rough to get to a point in a match where you want to keep going, but you just don't have anything left. And I think that's what's happening here. So, JR, are you enjoying the match so far?
Yes, I am. I think you...
Uh-oh. Come on. You got to stop this guy before he really gets going.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. He's built up too much momentum to be stopped now.
Kurt Angle's too competitive for his own good. He doesn't know when he's met his match. He'd rather risk a serious injury than quit.
Well, maybe that's because Angle has never truly met his match, King. I've never seen a superstar triumph over adversity the way Kurt Angle has.
Well, Angle's gotten lucky more times than I can count. I'll give him that. But sooner or later... Uh-oh! Talk about a hole you don't want to find yourself in.
No kidding. This will rearrange your anatomy.
I don't think these superstars have any intention of taking it easy on each other tonight.
That's not what they signed up for, King. And quite frankly, I think these fans will be disappointed. He's got that submission hold locked in.
He sure does, JR. He might make his opponent tap out right here. Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete against each other here tonight, JR?
I had a feeling their paths were going to cross sooner or later. And I'm glad And there's the submission! There might not be any way out of it!
There better be, but we're going to see a tap out right here. Everyone says that Kurt Angle's one of the greatest superstars in the business, but considering he went from Raw to SmackDown to ECW, that's like claiming to be the world's tallest midget.
Oh, come on. WWE champion, and he's done just about everything there is to do in this business. He'd be successful no matter where he competed.
Yeah, but do you think it's just a coincidence that he keeps moving to less competitive brands? I think Angle's running scared.
Oh, come on. Angle's never run from a damn fight in his life, and you know it. I've never seen a challenge set in front of him that he couldn't overcome.
Well, you might be seeing one here tonight, JR. It looks like Angle's got his work cut out for him.
Oh, boy, this is not going to be an easy hole to escape from.
It sure isn't, JR. I've been on the wrong end of that one many times. Boy, it's obvious these superstars have done their homework on each other.
They sure have, and this is one hell of an exam.
Let's hope it's not their final exam, JR. I'd love to see them go at it again.
Well, if I think the fans have their way, you'll get your wish, King.
Well, this one's gonna go.
I think this is still an extremely competitive match that could go either way. He's attacking his opponent. Do you know what it is?
The angle slam! I don't believe it! I think we're gonna find out just how much punishment the human body can withstand here tonight.
I think you're right, King. These superstars seem intent on taking each other to the limit.
I love that attitude, JR. Go big or go home.
Well, these superstars sure aren't going home until this match is settled once and for all.
These superstars are putting on a great match so far, JR. But if they drop the ball, these fans will let them hear about it.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. These competitors know that their paychecks come straight from the WWE fans. They're not going to let them down.
Yeah, but if they don't keep the fans happy...
If wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. But that's not the case now, is it?
These superstars sure aren't going easy on each other here tonight.
What do you expect, King? This isn't ballet, you know.
Oh, really, JR? Gosh, tell me more about your in-ring experience.
Well, I've got a pinfall victory over Triple H to my credit. How about you?
After some of the things we've seen in this ring, JR, I think we'd better remind the folks at home not to try this stuff themselves.
That's for damn sure, King. The WWE superstars are trained...
And even they don't walk away from it.
They sure don't. We've seen more than one superstar taken out of here on the stretcher.
You know, JR, when I saw this match, I wasn't too sure about it. But it's turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
I'm not at all surprised, King. I knew this was going to be a terrific match.
Oh, come on, JR. You're just talking through your hat. And speaking of hats, when are you going to get rid of that silly thing anyway?
Right about the time you stop wearing that crown on yourself. Look at this. Look at this. You talk about a house of fire, you're seeing it right here.
Yeah? Well, somebody better put out that fire.
This capacity crowd is solidly behind their star. Look at this.
Could you be any more biased, JR? How about some fair and balanced? to cheer for him. Now that he's in the driver's seat.
Come on, King. He's had the crowd behind him all match. And now it's paying off.
I've been looking forward to this match all night, JR. I can't believe it's finally underway.
This has been a hotly anticipated contest. And as far as I'm concerned, it's living up to the hype.
No question about that, JR. The fans certainly seem to be into it, that's for sure.
And when it comes down to it, that's all that matters. Oh boy, the adrenaline is pumping. I think this could be the beginning of the end.
No, it can't end like this. Come on, do something quick. Oh no, this is terrible. You can't let your opponent build this kind of momentum.
Well, all I can say is someone's been eating their vitamins and saying their prayers.
I think I know who's going to win this match, but I don't want to say. I'm afraid I'll jinx it.
Come on, King. Don't tell me you're superstitious.
Of course not, JR. I'm not superstitious because I know that's unlucky.
Boy, what a match.
I know these superstars want to keep going, but I don't know if they're going to be able to for much longer. JR's not going to be happy about this one, folks. I think one of his favorites is going to get beat like the proverbial government mule.
I'm not playing favorites, King. I might have issues with certain superstars as human beings, but I respect their in-ring abilities nonetheless.
JR, you're so full of it that you've got diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain.
So, King, any predictions about the outcome of this match?
Oh, no. Every time I make a guess as to who's going to win, I never hear the end of it from you.
Maybe that wouldn't happen if you got one right.
Exactly why Raw is the #1 brand in all of sports entertainment.
You're absolutely right, King. We've got the best superstars, the best fans,
and the best announced team. Don't forget that.
I was going to say that until you interrupted me. Now I'm just hoping I haven't lost Taz's phone number.
Any superstar shows the slightest hint of weakness, they've lost the match.
That's for sure. No matter how big.
Opponent in position, JR. This could be it.
Angle slam. He just drove his opponent into the canvas.
Can you believe we actually get paid to do this job, JR?
It's like a dream come true, King. Except when I have to sit here and listen to you drool over the divas.
Come on, JR. You know I'm helpless when it comes to puppies.
Oh, I know, King. And that's why I'm bringing the pitcher of ice water out here with me.
Here he goes. Up the turnbuckle. This could be really good or really bad. I think I know who's going to win this one, JR.
Oh, really? Enlighten us, King.
Wait a second. Why are you so eager to hear my prediction?
Because I want to know who's going to win. And 9 times out of 10, it's not the superstar you pick.
I think these superstars have a legitimate beef with each other, JR.
So do I, King. I'm not so sure their issues with each other are going to be solved with one match.
I hope not. I'd love to see them go at it again and again.
If one of these superstars starts to build momentum, it'll be the beginning of the end of this match.
That's right, JR. You don't see a lot of matches won with 1 or 2 big moves.
You sure don't. You've got to lay the groundwork first.
These superstars are beating the heck out of each other, and this crowd can't get enough of it.
It's what they paid to see, King, and they're getting their money's worth tonight.
They sure are, JR. There's no question these superstars are earning their paychecks. I think it's pretty obvious.
He's all fired up now, King, and I'd hate to be on the receiving end.
I don't think his opponent's got a hope of hurting him now.
Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact that Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, JR. There's not a superstar on the SmackDown roster who could hold a candle to Raw's finest.
I wouldn't go that far, King. There are quite a few SmackDown superstars who I would love to have on Raw.
Oh, come on, JR. Why would you want to lower the tone of the Raw locker room by bringing in some losers from SmackDown?
King, next time you call The Undertaker, Kurt Angle, and Chris Benoit losers, make sure you give me some warning so I can get the hell out of here before you do it. I don't want to be any part of what that's going to get.
I think that these superstars have even contemplated the fact that they might lose.
I'm sure they have. That's not the kind of attitude you come in with and expect to pick up the win.
You're right about that, JR. If you can't see yourself having your arm raised by the referee when it's over, don't bother showing up.
I tell you, King, I've got no earthly idea how these superstars can maintain this intensity week after week after week.
It's not easy, JR. There's no off-season. It's not like you've got 6 months to recover after WrestleMania.
That's for damn sure. And that's why I don't think there can be any doubt in anyone's mind that the superstars of the WWE are the greatest athletes in the world. I'll be honest with you, Ken. This is not the way I thought this match would go at all.
Me neither, JR. I guess that just goes to show that anything can happen in the WWE.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, King. And it's that unpredictability that makes it so exciting. This is Raw action at its finest. That's why Raw is the #1 brand of sports entertainment.
You got that right, JR. You're not going to see...
There's not an ounce of quit in any WWE superstar. But the human body has its limits, and they may have been reached here in this match. This match is going to continue until someone's completely debilitated. And considering the resiliency of these superstars, that's not going to be easy.
That's for sure. No one in this match is going down without a fight.
And I wouldn't expect any less from them, King. Like them or not, you've got to respect the tenacity of each and every WWE superstar. I'll tell you what, King, the WWE superstars are about the greatest athletes you'll find in any sport, period. He did it! He beat Angle in an ultimate submission match and has saved Raw!
This is the
Well, I hope you're happy.
Come on, give it a rest. You lost.
Thanks to you, Raw is going to remain a cesspool of filth and exploitation.
It's Big Vis.
Viscera has a score to settle with Stephanie McMahon as well. Don't forget, Kurt Angle tried to break Vis's ankle on Stephanie's orders.
Oh my gosh, I don't think Stephanie McMahon has ever been treated like this, JR.
Well, you might be right, King. Solid gold spankings for the $1 billion princess.
This has got to be the greatest moment in the history of WrestleMania. I can't wait for the DVD.
Reigns just